Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Tales of Herding God Part 143 based on novel. So let's start. Hulinga couldn't join in the conversation, so she could only grumble in her heart. After a moment, some women of the Sun Herders walked over and placed down a stack of clothes while saying respectfully, "Your Highness, the new clothes are done." Qin Mu stood up and suddenly felt a chill on his buttocks. He hurriedly sat back down and said, "Linga, Sister Jing, turn around. I would like to change my clothes." Yang Jingjing and Hulinga listened and turned around, so he immediately climbed out of the pool. Hulinga turned her head to peep, but Yang Jingjing immediately said, "Don't peep." "I was seeing if young master had any tails," she whispered back. "Did you see any tails?" Yang Jingjing asked with curiosity. "Nope, his butt was bare." Hulinga's voice held disappointment. Qin Mu donned the clothes and saw that they were cerulean blue in color. The overlap of the gown was embroidered with the markings of sun and moon, while the hemline was embroidered with the markings of dragons and phoenixes. The style and tailoring were very fitting. It had certain points that looked luxurious, but not too eye-catching. It was simple, elegant, and reserved. "These clothes aren't bad." Qin Mu was astonished at how comfortable he felt. When he tried to execute 9 dragons monarch technique, and his muscles expanded like dragons, his clothes also grew. They were still very fitting. Truly well made. Qin Mu was surprised and delighted. He could feel the vital qi surging through his body, moving along with the clothes, as well as though they were his skin. On top of that, the clothes could automatically adjust to any changes. "It's the work of Heavenly Feather Clan." Qin Mu smiled and said, "If Heavenly Feather Clan reaches eternal peace, they'll be able to survive by relying on their handicraft in tailoring." He jumped back into the pool to soak. Even though the clothes entered the water, they didn't get wet. When he left the water, they were still dry. This made Qin Mu click his tongue in wonder. The pool water was condensed from the qi of pure yang, and by soaking inside, it could replenish exhausted life force. Yang Jingjing was the body of pure yang, so it had the most effect on her. Qin Mu could also absorb the qi of pure yang in the pool water by executing Overlord Body 3 elixir technique. Not only did he feel his life force recovering continuously, his cultivation was also rising. His vital qi was becoming purer as well. The two of them soaked in the water for several days, and their bodies mostly recovered. Hulinga injuries were long gone, but she had still stuck around, not wanting to leave. So Qin Mu used that time to teach her divine arts, paths, and skills, as well as how to use a sword. He also exchanged pointers with Yang Jingjing in regards to the knowledge on divine eyes. So the couple days passed in no time. Even though Yang Jingjing's life force had recovered, she was still very frail. When she stretched her arm out, her skin clung to her bones in a pity-attracting manner. Sun Ship had absorbed her corporeal body for far too long for her to recover in a short while. Qin Mu carried Hulinga out from the water, while Yang Jingjing climbed out herself. "Chief most likely won't be willing to let me leave. I've never been away from Sun Ship before," she said with some hesitation. "In that case, let's not tell him. We shall sneak away." Qin Mu smiled. Yang Jingjing was so excited that her face flushed red. Her fingers curled into tight fists. Wouldn't this be not good? Qin Mu had them wait nearby, while he went to find Sun Herder Chief and Yu Zhaoqing. Yu Zhaoqing had already settled the discussion with her clansmen and decided to temporarily go to Eternal Peace Empire and settle down there. They were just waiting for Qin Mu's order. He brought Sai Yunxiang, Ling Yuxiu, and called the dragon Qilin and the flood dragons that were playing around in the lake back. He bade farewell to Sun Herder Chief, while Hulinga brought Yang Jingjing to mix among people of Heavenly Feather Clan. Sun-headed chief led everyone to see them off, then said, "Your Highness, Sun Guardian's body isn't well, so may your Highness look after her well." Qin Mu was stunned. The old chief waved his hand and saw them off. When they were far from Sunwell, Yang Jingjing came to Qin Mu's side and said excitedly, "Chief didn't notice me." Qin Mu didn't know whether to laugh or cry. "How could that old fox not notice you?" Ling Yuxiu was shocked and cried out, "The one who herds cows, you kidnapped Sun Guardian. How daring of you!" Cai Yunxiang sneered and said, "He even kidnapped the princess of Eternal Peace Empire." She then looked around at the majestic sight of millions of beautiful people of Heavenly Feather Clan following Qin Mu to Eternal Peace Empire and muttered, "Cult Master even kidnapped Heavenly Feather Clan, as well as over a dozen flood dragons. He indeed has the natural qualities of being Heavenly Devil Cult Master." Patriarch's judgment was right. If it was me, I wouldn't have been able to kidnap so many followers. As for Li Qianxing, he isn't even worthy to wipe his ass. On the way back, Qin Mu first returned to disabled elderly village and discovered that it was the world of hen dragons. They clucked noisily and looked fiendish, as though they were about to wage a war with the millions of Heavenly Feather clansmen. Qin Mu slaughtered the fiercest hen dragon. After it was roasted, the hen dragons finally knew their place and didn't dare to be impudent. There were no other people in the village, which meant that Apothecary hadn't yet returned. Qin Mu left behind a note to let everyone who returned to know to head to Granny Sai's manor for New Year's before continuing on his journey. In the majestic secret waters pass, the army looked at millions of people closing in on them. There were only tens of thousands of soldiers guarding the city, so when had they ever seen such a spectacle before? Luckily, Ling Yuxiu walked over and explained their intentions. Only then did the general guarding the city open the city gate and let them in. The amount of food required for so many people was a problem. Heavenly Feather clansmen were vegetarians, so they didn't eat meat or fish. On the journey, they only ate some fruits, honey, and the rhizomes of flowers, living on little. Even so, the food consumed by millions of people was still a huge problem. Qin Mu asked Yu Zhaoqing about the fruits that Heavenly Feather Clan ate from the pill trees in Heavenly Feather World. Those fruits were spirit pills, but they were rich in moisture, looking sparkling and transparent like crystals. At the same time, they had the benefits of spirit pills, allowing them to have no need for food or drink after a single one. Eating normal fruits could also satisfy their hunger. It was just that the taste wasn't as good. Pill trees. There are no plants that could bear spirit pills in Great Ruins or Eternal Peace Empire. Qin Mu asked about the effect of the fruit spore by the pill tree, and Yu Zhaoqing explained it to him in detail. Qin Mu then tried to refine such a spirit pill a few times, but she would shake her head every time he did. Finally, Qin Mu refined a furnace of pills the color of sky heavy with rainwater. He had spent quite a great deal of effort on it. After Yu Zhaoqing tasted it, she praised, "The taste is already 50 to 60% there." Qin Mu let out a sigh of relief and imparted the recipe to Yu Zhaoqing, so she could find the apothecaries of their Heavenly Feather Clan to refine the pills themselves. That way, they wouldn't have to pluck wild fruits from all around to eat. These Heavenly Feather clansmen are only suited to live in the south where it's warm. That place is the only one suitable. Qin Mu was getting a headache while thinking about where to settle so many people. In the end, he decided to hand this headache over to Emperor Yang Feng and have his head ache. A flying ship in Secret Waters Pass rose into the air and brought Qin Mu's memorial to the capital city at a lightning-fast speed. In the meantime, Qin Mu summoned Dragon Rearing Sovereign, who revealed his true form, to carry the millions of people on his humongous body. It was truly a spectacular sight to behold. Yang Jingjing clicked her tongue in wonder. She had never seen such a huge life form like Dragon Rearing Sovereign in Sunwell, so she couldn't help being curious. When they came to the south of Relax Prefecture, Qin Mu asked Heavenly Feather clansmen to station themselves in the forest nearby. He brought the girls to Granny Sai's manor, and Yu Zhaoqing also followed him here, as they waited for Emperor Yanfeng's decree. Everyone who came to Granny Sai's manor couldn't help being astonished. The place was like a sacred ground in the mortal realm, like a paradise. The spirit qi and energy were so dense that they almost formed droplets of water. The place was also abnormally bustling as numerous palace maids hurried here and there to clean this and that up. Ling Yuxiu was astonished and called two of them over. Jian Qi, Qin Qi, aren't the both of you supposed to serve Empress Dowager? Why are you here? The palace maids were none other than the two girls who had once escorted Qin Mu to prevent him from being assassinated by Little Poison King Fu Yuanqing. They immediately greeted her and Qin Mu. Each of them had a dimple on one side of their faces, one the left and one on the right, complementing each other well. Jian Qi smiled and said, "Empress Dowager is here, so we are naturally here as well." Ling Yuxiu was astonished. "Empress Dowager is also here. Why is she here?" Jian Qi and Qin Qi looked at each other and revealed troubled looks. Qin Qi hesitated for a moment before saying, "She chased Playboy Yu to this place." "Princess, hush, or else Empress Dowager will take our heads off if she learns about this." Jian Qi whispered closely beside Ling Yuxiu's ear, "There are many women chasing after Playboy Yu." So when he revealed his true face, they were all shocked to see that it had been carved off. However, none of them left. These women are all very fierce and famous in the martial world. Some of them are even sect leaders. In the end, Empress Dowager couldn't take it anymore and fought fiercely with all of them, but she still couldn't suppress them, so they ended up all staying here. Ling Yuxiu looked troubled as she shifted her gaze to Qin Mu. "Is Playboy Yu part of the village?" His grandpa apothecary, also known as Jade Face Poison King. Qin Mu was greatly delighted by the news. In that case, Grandpa Apothecary must also be here. He got cornered by all the women and can't run. Yang Jingjing looked around, and besides the palace maids that were coming to and fro, she saw some weird life forms all around. One was a fierce merman, with a human head and a fish's body, while another was a terrifying merman, with fish's head and human body. They were all hurrying to and fro in the manor, preparing for New Year's. There were also tree demons, flower demons, as well as strange demons that filled the mountains and wilderness. The tree demons had heads full of branches that held few leaves. Their temper was violent, and they would fight with deer demons frequently. "Rascal, you brought so many maidens back for New Year's." Just as they were looking around, a fragrance assaulted their nostrils, and everyone looked toward the source of the voice. They couldn't help being stunned when they saw a beautiful woman walking over. She didn't look like a person from the mortal realm, but instead like she had come out from legends. She had a divine beauty, one without any flaw. The girls were all stunned, feeling their inferiority. However, they couldn't help feeling adoration and wanting to get close to her. "Aunt." Sai Yunxiang went forward and said excitedly, "You're also here." Granny Sai chuckled and said, "Lassie Xiong, stay further away from my Mua. We are family, so how could Aunt take his side?" Sai Yunxiang retorted angrily with a black face. Granny Sai threw her to the side and walked toward the other girls. She examined them and smiled. "I've raised Mua up and I'm much closer to him than you. Lassie Xiong, I had never carried you. Mua, she is a vixen and full of naughty thoughts, so you need to be careful with her." Hu Linga jumped up and shouted, "I knew she's a vixen. Granny, I have looked after young master properly, and didn't give any chance for all the little vixen to get close to him." Granny Sai came to Qin Mu's side and raised her hand, about to caress his head, but then couldn't help scolding angrily, "You've grown taller. Why aren't you bending down?" Qin Mu immediately bent down, and Granny Sai caressed his head while sighing. Your height has almost caught up to that of Butcher. How did you grow so fast, to even know how to flirt around and bring girls back to see me? Her eyes grew red, about to fill with tears. Just a year or two away from home, and you're already starting your family. Granny, I'm not starting my family, it's Grandpa Blind who forced me to. You have met Yushio, and this is the Sun Guardian of the Sun Herders, the one who drove Sun Ship to chase off Imperial Preceptor. She's called Yang Jingjing. This is the chief of Heavenly Feather Clan from Heavenly Feather World, Yu Jiaoqing. I said I'm coming over for New Year's, and they all decided to follow. Granny Sai's tears turned into laughter, and she said, it's good that these maidens are here to meet their in-laws. Quick, come in and have a seat. The girls' faces were all red. Yu Jiaoqing, however, was the chief of a clan and her cultivation was powerful. She was a top existence in Heavenly Feather World, so she said, Senior sister, please don't be mistaken, I'm not one of His Highness's concubine. Granny Sai felt fonder and fonder as she looked at her pure and attractive appearance, which made her smile. Calling me Granny will do. There's no need for senior sister, it's too polite. Yu Jiaoqing hesitated for a moment. Since she didn't yet fully grasp how people addressed each other in this world, she could only call her Granny. Granny Sai gave a sweet acknowledgement, overjoyed. Sai Yunxiang came forward and said, Granny. Granny Sai immediately put on a straight face. Call me aunt. Sai Yunxiang felt extremely wronged, and could only lower her head to call her aunt. Granny Sai then brought them to her palace, and ousted Qin Mu while saying, go to the halls nearby to find Cripple. That old fellow suffered losses, and is now crying miserably. Which hall? Qin Mu immediately asked. The layout here is the same as in the village, so he's in his house. Qin Mu immediately went out to search, and Granny Sai turned to the girls, growing happier and happier. She said to Yang Jingjing, Sun Guardian is a little thin, you need to eat more. Yushio's body is pretty sturdy, very firm, though. I've met your father before, but I didn't talk to him. When will you be inviting the in-laws over? Qin Mu found Cripple's hall and saw that Blind, Mute, Deaf, and Butcher were all there. There was also 2 village chiefs. He then noticed that it wasn't exactly right to say that. On one of the recliners was the limbless village chief, while the other one held Cripple, who had no legs. Qin Mu immediately rushed forward and cried out, Grandpa Cripple, this is. Cripple's face was full of tears as he complained, Mua, you're back. Your grandpa Cripple has fallen. Qin Mu composed himself and looked around, silently inquiring others about what happened. The person who dug out my eyes reappeared and took Cripple's divine legs. Mute already went to Great Thunderclap Monastery to tell Old Ma to be careful. That person will most likely find him for his divine fists. Qin Mu's heart shook, and he took in a deep breath before asking solemnly. Village Chief, who is that person? Before Village Chief could even answer, Apothecary, who had a tall and sturdy figure walked in and said, when I was running for my life, I met Daoist Lingjing, and he said there was a godlike existence chasing after his life, wanting to take away his divine blood. So he had pleaded me to change his divine blood to protect his life. I asked Daoist Lingjing about that person, and he said that he was an existence on par with Village Chief back then, and he called himself God. Village Chief let out a shaky breath and said, his name is only a single word, and his surname is very weird, Xing. He's a very egotistical person. But according to logic, his age should be around the same as mine, so his lifespan should be ending in 2 years. Yet Daoist Lingjing said he looked very young, just like a youngster. Worried entered Apothecary's face and he said, with your understanding of him, will he find Old Ma? Old Ma is rely now, the 4 elements are vanity, so he won't come for New Year's, and will be in danger staying alone in Mount Meru. Qin Mu couldn't resist asking, this person that's called Shingan, is he really that strong? To be able to fight his way into Great Thunderclap Monastery. I've no idea how strong he is now. However, I know that a person can spend all their energy into cultivating one part of their body to the god realm. That way, they can be a match for the fake gods. If one cultivated all their parts to the god realm, they would not be far from becoming a real god. So he will definitely go to find Old Ma, village chief said. Other than Granny Sai, everyone else in disabled elder village had one thing they were great at, which could also be said to be their unique point. All of them had cultivated it to the god realm. Since their path to the divine bridge was broken and they couldn't advance into an even higher realm, they spent all their efforts in one area of research. This had made their abilities able to match those of the gods of high heavens, and they weren't weak like dragon-rearing sovereign, that kind of fake god. Reaching God realm in one area alone allowed them to fight against the strong practitioners of high heavens. So what would happen if one could reach God realm in all areas? Wouldn't they become a real god? It was obvious that the strong practitioner called Xing walked such a path, but the strategy he took was not of researching things himself. Instead, he wanted to take what was already from other people's bodies. After all, a person's energy was limited, and without repairing the divine bridge, their lifespan was also limited. They could only live to 800 years. If Shingan focused on cultivating and researching diligently, he could at most reach the god realm in 2 areas. On the other hand, by taking them off other people's bodies, he could gather a body on the god realm, making him like a true god. He was a strong practitioner that was on par with village chief, so accordingly to logic, he should be as old as village chief, yet he was still a youth. It meant that he had taken more than just Cripple's legs and Blind's eyes. There were definitely other strong practitioners that had suffered at his lethal hands. No one could clearly say which step his abilities had reached. Blind's eyes were the strongest divine eyes, and Cripple's legs were the strongest divine legs. Just these 2 things could allow him to rise to the top among the strong practitioners in their world. Yet he had definitely taken more god realm body parts from other people. With such a strong practitioner aiming for Old Ma's arms, Old Ma might not be his opponent even though he was Rulai. Butcher stood up and said, I shall go find Old Ma. Butcher, are your knives the strongest thing about you? Village chief suddenly asked. Butcher stopped in his footsteps. No. The strongest part of me is actually my heart. Rumbles came from his body like the vibrations of heavenly thunder. It sounded like a giant beating drum on the battlefield, but it was just his heartbeat's rumble that made everyone's eardrum rang. He roused his chi and blood, and the sound of his heartbeat gave everyone a feeling that the thickest and heaviest heavenly knife had come out of its sheath. That knife was copious, sharp, and able to conquer every obstacle. Heaven Knife's knife wasn't the pig slaughtering knives in his hands, but he himself. The Heaven Knife required a strong energy source to execute it, and that energy source was his heart. Qin Mu opened his Cinnabar Heaven's eyes and looked at Butcher. What he saw wasn't a person, but a knife. In the center of it was a beating heart. Blood vessels stretched out from it like dragons, connecting to all parts of the knife like a network. With every beat, the heart sent matchless chi and blood to all parts of Heaven Knife. Butcher had cultivated his heart into a divine heart. Village chief said, he needs your heart, a divine heart. Butcher shook his head and said, I'm not afraid of him. He's also not afraid of you. Even if you fight him, your chances of victory are slim. If you go to find Old Ma by yourself, you will definitely be intercepted midway. Mute, what's your strongest part? Mute was sitting while smoking his water pipe. When he heard village chief's words, he knocked the water paper out and put the pipe back on his waist. The furnace on his back suddenly ignited without fire, but everyone soon noticed that what had ignited it wasn't vital qi. What was overflowing with heat wasn't his furnace either, but his body. His vital qi became incomparably scorching, as though there was a furnace burning furiously in his abdominal cavity. It was like a small sun spinning frantically, as it grew more powerful. It looked like a sun was continuously accumulating power for a world-shaking explosion. Mute, your dantian has been refined into a divine furnace, so Shingan will also need it. Village chief then looked at Deaf and shook his head. Deaf, even though your painting path has reached its extreme, Shingan won't need what's on your body. He can't take away your skill. Deaf raised his head and took a glance at Apothecary. The quack shouldn't be in his eyes as well. His cultivation is too low, his only at Celestia being realm. Apothecary smiled and said, at least I won't starve to death no matter where I walk to in the martial world, unlike a certain painter. Deaf did not care about his words, feeling proud about himself. The earnings from one painting of mine can buy a couple of mansions in the capital, while you can swiftly go bankrupt if you cause someone to die from your treatment. Shingan needs Apothecary, village chief suddenly said. Everyone was slightly stunned, so he continued, he needs Apothecary's skill to help him change his body. Apothecary shuddered. You guys don't need to worry. Butcher, Mute, Apothecary, follow me, we shall head to Great Thunderclap Monastery together. Deaf, Cripple, Blind, you guys shall stay. Shingan's target is us, so he won't come for you guys. We shall be on our way then. Mua, you shall also stay and celebrate New Year's here. We'll go to Great Thunderclap Monastery to eat vegetarian meals. Let's go. Blind's expression was calm when he said, my long tour would like to meet him again. The divine spear was defeated under his hand, and the long-awaited revenge is due. Village chief shook his head and said, this isn't just about you. An expert is also needed here, since Cripple won't do. When he had one leg, he could still run, but now both are gone. It's best if you stay. Blind frowned, but didn't say anything. Apothecary fetched a herb basket, and placed village chief in it. They left with Butcher and Mute. Numerous women came, planning to leave with Apothecary, but he begged for mercy. Good sisters, I will be back in a few days. I won't run away, don't worry. After that, the women let him leave. When only Cripple, Blind, Deaf, and Qin Mu were left in the hall, Cripple started to bawl again. Mua is now the fastest in our village. I couldn't run even if I wanted to. Qin Mu immediately consoled him, and Cripple's emotions gradually stabilized. But then he saw that there was nothing below his waist again, and sorrow couldn't help flooding out from his heart. He cried again, I could still hop around on one leg in the past. I could still run extremely fast, but now I can't hop even if I wanted to. Grandpa Cripple, I can attach 2 deer legs for you. I see that there are quite a number of deer demons in the mountains. With my skill, it won't be hard to make the change. Qin Mu suggested. Deer's legs are crooked. I will have to kneel down after just walking a few steps. Don't want. Qin Mu could only leave it. Deaf found Cripple too noisy and went back to his own hall. Cripple was full of tears as he muttered about how Deaf was avoiding him. Blind also planned to go, but Qin Mu stopped him. Grandpa Blind, I met the #1 divine eyes of founding emperor era, the eyes of Xi Qing. They had imprinted some runes in my eyes, but there's only the imprints, no technique. So I don't understand how to activate them. When you came in, I saw that your eyes were very peculiar. I can feel a strange energy brewing in your eyes, but it's unstable. Blind put away his thoughts to find Shingan, full of interest in regards to founding Emperor Era's #1 divine eyes. Can you light up those runes again? I would like to check their pattern. Cripple whined, my legs. Blind frowned and said, Cripple keeps whining, So let's go discuss this elsewhere until he runs out of words. Qin Mu immediately took leave from Cripple, and the two of them came to the lake beside the hall. Some mermaids with fish heads and human bodies ran over with fruits plucked from the mountains. Old master, eat some fruits. Qin Mu picked up a red fruit, but it screamed, "Don't eat me." Qin Mu immediately placed the fruit down, and saw over a dozen fruits rolling around in the plate. Oh. I'm bleeding. Stop looking. When the god's blood was scattered on the mountain, all the fruits and trees became strange. Blind shook his head and said, "All of the fruits have become demons." As they were talking, a bright red fruit grew arms and touched the red juice that had leaked out from its body. "I'm bleeding, I'm dying." After saying that, it fainted. The other fruits immediately rolled over and cried miserably. Qin Mu's scalp crawled, and he hurriedly poured the fruits on the plate away. They became delighted, and even the fruit that had fainted also woke up. The demons rapidly rolled away, to the body of a tree demon that was passing by. They went to hang on the head of the tree demon, and only then let out sighs of relief. Suddenly, a deer demon that was beside the tree demon sneakily took a bite from a fruit. The fruit demons exclaimed and cried miserably again, cursing the deer demon. The tree demon was furious and fought with the deer demon. Qin Mu was astonished. He looked at the two demons that were fighting with a blank gaze. The mermaids ran over and plucked the fruits off the tree demon again, sending them right to Qin Mu and Blind's face. "I'm already used to the sight of strange things." Blind shook his head. "You haven't gone up the mountain, that's where the really weird stuff exists. The grass and vines there can really annoy one to death. Ignore them. Mua, activate the imprints in your divine eyes and show them to me." Qin Mu did as asked and executed Pleiades' sun star hoops that Yang Jingjing had imparted to him. Star hoops instantly lighted up in his eyes, and the sun that was in the center of the star hoops instantly exploded with dazzling sunlight. The demons that were creating a commotion were frightened into crouching on the ground and not daring to move. Blind was astonished and calculated for a moment. This Xing is indeed remarkable. Her divine art is even stronger than mine. However, you only executed the light of her divine eyes, so there's no power at all. Execute it again. Qin Mu executed Pleiades' sun star hoops again, and Blind smiled. That's it, there's a pupil skill, however, the power of the runes was not activated. They are a little interesting, though. If my eyes were still around, I could take another step forward. What a pity. Mua, let me try to merge 9 Heavens' Eyes awakening skill with these runes, though it might take a few days. After I finish, I'll teach it to you. Qin Mu nodded. Blind memorized the runes in his divine eyes while smiling. Go spend some time with your lovely wives. There's no need to keep following an old geezer like me. I won't go and find Shingan, so you can be at ease. Qin Mu was still worried he would go look for Shingan for revenge, so there was unease in his heart. Ling Yuxiu shouted at him from afar, "The one who herds cows, we are going up the mountain to gather some fruits to prepare as New Year's goods. Are you coming?" "Go ahead." Blind smiled. Qin Mu could only run over and say to Ling Yuxiu, "The fruits on the mountain have become demons, so they will bite." Granny said that there are some fruits on the mountain that had not become demons yet and they can be eaten. It's just that those mermaids don't recognize the difference, Hu Linga said. When they came up the mountain, they saw many fruit trees, but when the fruits heard that they had come up to gather them, they immediately pulled up their roots and ran away, making everyone stare after them blankly. "You're stepping on me," a small grass shouted angrily. "Where are my brothers?" Everyone immediately escaped for their lives, while chased by a bunch of grass men pursuing them relentlessly. After the commotion, they found the fruit garden mentioned by Granny Sai, where the fruits had not turned into demons. Qin Mu took a bite, and the fruit was very sweet and fragrant. Yang Jingjing, Ling Yuxiu, and Sai Yinxiang carried baskets to pluck the fruits, while Hu Linga sat on the branches of the tree to eat. Soon, her tummy bulged, and she laid down with her tails drooping. What a fragrant fruit! Suddenly, a voice spoke, and Qin Mu looked toward it. He saw a youth in white walking out from the mountains while carrying a huge chest. Qin Mu took a couple fruits from a basket and smiled. "Where's brother from? Where are you going?" The youth gave his thanks and praised the fruits endlessly after he tasted one. "There's the flavor of God's blood, so it's truly delicious. I don't have a fixed residence, so I'm usually wandering around. I'm here to meet Divine Physician Qin to ask him for help in curing my illness." Qin Mu blinked and asked, "Divine Physician Qin? Cure illness? What illness has brother contracted?" The youth let out a sigh and said, "Terminal illness." Qin Mu's gaze flashed. "How can I address brother?" The youth buried the fruit in the earth and carefully covered it with dirt. Shingan. This video will end here.